The dark psychology behind "I'm just joking." What if the words "I'm just joking" weren't so innocent? You're in a room full of people. Someone makes a comment that hits a nerve about your appearance, your intelligence, your emotions. Everyone laughs. You try to smile too, but deep down, it stings. You speak up. You say, "Hey, that didn't feel okay." And then it comes, the classic response, "Relax, I'm just joking." And suddenly, it's your fault for taking it seriously. But what if that wasn't a joke at all? What if it was a subtle form of control, a way to insult you, then dodge responsibility? Let's break this down. Jokes are supposed to create connection. They bring people together. They're meant to be light-hearted, to make everyone feel included. But sometimes jokes are used like daggers, words coated in humor, but designed to hurt. Mockery, sarcasm, teasing disguised as affection. And the moment you react, the moment you say that hurt, you're painted as dramatic, oversensitive, or weak. You're no longer the person being harmed. You're the one ruining the vibe. That's not humor. That's emotional manipulation. This is what psychologists call emotional invalidation. It makes you doubt your experience. It teaches you to stay quiet the next time something hurts. Because if you react, you'll be shamed for it. Now, let's go even deeper. Sometimes this kind of joking is a power move. The joker holds the spotlight. Everyone laughs at their joke, even if it's at someone else's expense. And suddenly that person, the target, feels smaller. They don't want to push back, because no one wants to be labeled the killjoy. It's control hidden inside a punchline. This happens everywhere, in friendships, in families, in classrooms, at work, even in relationships. The funny one becomes untouchable, and others begin to laugh, not because they're amused, but because they're afraid of being next. Let's talk about what's happening under the surface. There's a psychological theory called benign violation theory. It says, for something to be funny, it has to break a rule, but still feel safe. But when a joke crosses a personal boundary, it stops being benign. It becomes a threat. It becomes personal. And the harm doesn't go away just because someone added a smile. In fact, studies show that people with dark personality traits, narcissism, manipulation, low empathy, often use humor as a weapon, not to make people laugh, but to assert power, superiority, or control. Here's where it gets even darker. When you stop reacting, when you start laughing just to keep the peace, you begin to lose something. Your boundaries blur. You doubt your instincts. You wonder, am I too sensitive? Am I overthinking this? Should I just laugh along? That's how silence takes root. Not through shouting, not through threats, but through repeated, subtle dismissals, covered in laughter. Now, let's be honest. Not everyone who says, "I'm just joking," is a manipulator. Sometimes people make mistakes. Sometimes we try to be funny and miss the mark. But intention doesn't erase impact. You can accidentally step on someone's foot and still owe them an apology. It's the same with words. If someone tells you they were hurt by your joke, don't defend it. Don't dismiss it. Just say, "Thanks for telling me. I didn't realize. I won't joke like that again." That's real empathy. So what can you do when you hear one of these jokes? You don't need to laugh to make it less awkward. You don't need to argue either. Just calmly say, "That didn't feel like a joke to me. I know you're trying to be funny, but that hit differently. Let's not joke about that. It's not light for me." Your voice doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. It just has to be honest. Because at the end of the day, the phrase "I'm just joking" should never be a get-out-of-jail-free card. Humor should never be used to silence pain. Jokes should never be shields for cruelty. So the next time you hear that phrase, pause and ask, was it funny or was it a cover? Because behind that casual laugh, there might be something much darker.